What did ancient humans really eat every day? For most of us, the answer appears instantly in the imagination. A cold, prehistoric evening. A fire burning in the center of a rough camp. Hunters returning from the wild, carrying the body of a giant animal. Families gathering around the flames. Meat roasting over smoke. Stone tools cutting through the feast. It is a powerful image, and for decades, it has shaped the way we picture our ancestors. But what if that image is only a tiny piece of the truth? What if the daily life of ancient humans was not built around endless, successful hunts, but around uncertainty, hunger, patience, and the desperate skill of finding food where most modern people would see nothing? The truth is that ancient humans did not eat like kings of the wilderness every day. They did not wake up each morning knowing there would be meat waiting for them by nightfall. A hunt could fail. An animal could escape. A storm could erase tracks. A spear could miss. A hunter could be injured. And when the hunt failed, the entire group still had to eat. That is why survival was never only about strength. It was about knowledge. Ancient humans had to know which roots could be dug from the ground and which ones could poison them. They had to know when berries ripened, where nuts fell, where birds nested, where fish gathered, and where honey might be hidden inside a tree. They watched the land the way we read books. Every season carried clues. Every river bend, every patch of grass, every broken shell, every animal track could mean food or danger. The popular idea that ancient humans lived mostly on giant slabs of meat is too simple. Meat mattered, deeply. A successful hunt could feed a group, provide fat, bones, hides, and tools. It could change the fate of a camp for days. But it was not guaranteed. It was not daily certainty. In many environments, the more reliable food came from gathering. Small foods saved lives. Roots, seeds, fruits, nuts, eggs, insects, shellfish, and edible leaves may not look dramatic in a movie scene, but they were often the difference between hunger and survival. They were quiet foods, humble foods, forgotten foods. Yet, without them, many ancient communities would not have lasted. So, the real story of ancient eating is not just a story of hunters. It is the story of people who learned to survive by reading nature with astonishing precision. And once we understand that, a surprising question appears. If meat was not always on the menu, what truly kept ancient humans alive through drought, winter, and famine? The answer was often hidden beneath their feet. Long before farming, long before fields of wheat, rice, or corn, ancient humans were already experts in the world of wild plants. They did not simply wander through nature hoping to find something edible. They carried generations of memory inside their minds. They knew which plants appeared after rain, which roots could be roasted, which seeds could be ground, which nuts could be stored, and which bitter foods became safe only after careful preparation. To modernize, a dry landscape may look empty. To ancient humans, it was a map of survival. A patch of grass might hide edible seeds. A twisted tree might drop nuts full of energy. A muddy riverbank might hold roots rich in starch. A thorny bush might offer fruit during a season when nothing else seemed alive. These foods were not exciting in the way a large hunt was exciting, but they were dependable, and dependability mattered. Plants gave ancient people carbohydrates, fiber, minerals, and steady energy. Roots and tubers could be roasted in ash. Wild grains could be gathered and crushed. Nuts could be cracked open with stones. Fruits could be eaten fresh when the season was kind. Some foods could even be dried or stored, giving people a small shield against hunger. This changes the way we imagine prehistoric life. Ancient humans were not only chasing animals across open plains, they were kneeling in the dirt, digging. They were searching through leaves, listening to birds, watching insects, remembering where a tree had produced food the year before. They were teaching children what could be eaten and what must never be touched. A child who learned the landscape had a better chance of living through the next hard season. And then came the discoveries that made this invisible diet visible again. Tiny traces left on teeth, bones, tools, and ancient fireplaces began revealing meals that had disappeared for thousands of years. In some ancient communities, researchers found signs that plant foods were not just occasional snacks. They may have formed a major part of daily life. Wild grains, Acorns, legumes, fruits, and roots were not side dishes. They were survival. This does not make ancient humans peaceful forest gardeners. It makes them even more impressive. They were flexible, observant, and practical. They ate what the land offered, not what a modern diet book promised. And when the land offered meat, they took that too. Because in the ancient world, survival belonged to those who could use every possible source of food. But even though plants were often essential, meat still held a powerful place in the ancient human world. When a hunt succeeded, everything changed. A large animal could feed many mouths. It could bring strength back to tired bodies. It could give the group protein, fat, organs, marrow, hide, sinew, bone, and raw material for tools. Nothing was wasted. A dead animal was not just food. It was warmth, clothing, equipment, shelter, and survival packed into one body. For ancient humans, meat was never just a meal. It was opportunity, but the most valuable part was not always the muscle. It was fat. Today, many people think of meat mainly as protein. But in harsh prehistoric environments, fat was precious. Lean meat alone could not carry a group through hunger. Fat gave dense energy. Bone marrow, brain, organs, and fatty tissues could keep people alive when plants were scarce and cold weather made gathering difficult. This was especially true in colder regions, where winter could turn the land into a locked storehouse. Fruits vanished, leaves died, roots were hidden beneath frozen ground. In places like Ice Age Europe, some ancient groups depended heavily on animals such as reindeer, horse, bison, mammoth, or other large herbivores. The hunt was dangerous, but the reward could be enormous. And then there was fire. Fire changed food forever. It made meat easier to chew. It softened roots. It reduced some toxins. It unlocked calories. It gave ancient humans more than warmth and protection. It gave them a new relationship with food itself. Around the fire, raw survival became cooked survival. A meal became something shared. A camp became a center of memory, teaching, and story. Still, meat was never a simple guarantee. Hunting required skill, cooperation, courage, and luck. Ancient people had to track animals across difficult land, understand movement patterns, plan ambushes, and risk injury. A failed hunt could leave the camp hungry. A successful hunt could become a moment of celebration. So, the real genius of ancient humans was not that they were great hunters alone. It was that they knew when to hunt, when to gather, when to fish, when to dig, when to follow herds, when to move camp, and when to wait. Their greatest weapon was not only the spear. It was flexibility. And this is where the biggest misunderstanding finally breaks apart. There was no single ancient human diet. There was no universal caveman menu. No perfect prehistoric plate. No one simple answer that fits every group, every continent, every climate, and every season. Ancient humans did not eat according to an ideology. They ate according to place. A group living near the sea might have built much of its life around fish, shellfish, seabirds, eggs, coastal plants, and anything the tide left behind. For them, the ocean was not scenery. It was a living pantry. Every low tide could reveal food. Every shoreline could hold clues. A broken shell, a pool of trapped fish, or a nesting bird could mean another day of survival. A group living deep in forests would have known a completely different world. Their meals might include fruits, nuts, mushrooms, roots, honey, insects, small animals, birds, and whatever could be trapped or gathered beneath the trees. The forest demanded patience. It rewarded memory. The people who lived there had to know which fruit appeared in which month, which trees attracted animals, which plants healed, and which plants killed. In cold open landscapes, the story changed again. Meat and fat became far more important. Large animals could provide the energy needed to survive freezing seasons. In dry lands, ancient humans might depend on tough roots, seeds, lizards, insects, eggs, and rare water sources. In river valleys, fish, reeds, birds, turtles, and edible plants could shape the rhythm of life. Their meals changed with the seasons too. Spring might bring new greens and eggs. Summer could bring fruit and fish. Autumn might bring nuts, seeds, and stored food. Winter could bring hunger, migration, and dependence on whatever had been preserved or hunted. So when we ask what ancient humans really ate every day, we are asking the wrong question. The better question is, what did the land allow them to eat? Because ancient humans did not live above nature. They lived inside it. They knew hunger in a way most of us never will. They knew that food was not guaranteed by money, markets, or machines. It came from memory, movement, cooperation, risk, and patience. They were hunters, yes, but they were also gatherers, fishers, diggers, scavengers, cooks, observers, and survivors. Their daily meal was not a modern diet trend. It was a negotiation with the earth. Some days, it was roasted meat beside the fire. Some days, it was roots pulled from mud. Some days, it was berries, nuts, eggs, fish, shellfish, insects, or scraps left by predators. Some days, it was barely enough. And maybe that is the most powerful truth of all. Ancient humans did not eat one perfect food. They ate the landscape. They ate the season. They ate what their elders remembered, what their children could gather, what their hunters could risk, and what the fire could transform. Every meal was a story of survival. Every bite carried the knowledge of thousands of years. And every night the fire kept burning. It meant one thing. For one more day, humanity had found a way to live.